right, it's at 8:30 plus 5 more minutes, then making it 8:35. And we'll be talking about the ease of doing business, the challenges foreign and local investors face. That's going to be our talking point this morning, and hopefully we'll be joined via Zoom by Honorable Engineer Tony Uchizikwelu, who is an engineer, an economist, and a public affairs analyst, former Anambra State Chief Whip, House of Assembly, will be joining us in the discourse. But for talking about ease of doing business, we know that local investors and foreign investors do face some challenges when they make attempt to invest in Nigeria. The power sector is one of them. The issue of multiple taxation is one of them, and also corruption and the bottlenecks of governance. Getting approvals is another big factor. For you, we know that the last two administrations, especially Goodluck Jonathan, made concerted effort to make the issue of the ease of doing business to be achieved. Thus far, do you think they've achieved that?
This present administration, is that what you're referring to? If that's your question.
Yeah.
This far. Well, of course, we know what is ongoing at the moment with the economy. And ease of doing business at this time, not so sure because of so many hikes when it comes to electricity, when it comes to the depreciation of the naira and the high cost of removal of subsidy, which has caused investors, to actually run away, if I would say, leaving all hands away from... I don't understand. Are you an investor or something? No, looking at it critically, seriously, ease of doing... Okay, so the thing is, the ease of doing business is sometimes it's really worrisome at this point because most stakeholders do not find it easy. Most investors are not finding it easy at this point. It's a very sad thing, but I'm sure the economics that will be here will break it down to us and explain to us if there are other means in doing business despite this economic crunch in which we face at the moment in the country.
All right, that's a very important talking point. But the issue of when government seem to be in support, in collusion with foreign investors to play against local investors. How do you see that? Does it mean more of a compromise? Because there's been recent allegations against the city minister to say he's colluding with Lebanese
foreign investors over
to
local investors.
Yes, so you've got local investors who have put in their hard-earned money, retiree monies into investing, for instance, in real estate, and you have the Lebanese use their connection in term with the FCT minister and the government to pull down their structures because they're in conflict with a foreign firm who is also interested in a particular space. Shouldn't the local investor
be more prioritized than the foreign investors? But you have to take a look at it. Most of these contractors, and let's take a back. There was this minister, I'm trying to remember him, who walked up to a foreign investor and says, this particular, I'm trying to remember, is it, I'll definitely remember. And he says, the materials these foreign investors are using are not, they're not quality materials.
The foreign investors?
Yes, exactly. Okay. There are two sides to a coin. Sometimes the Nigerian contractors, they go for lesser materials because they want to make more gain. Now, we're looking at things that has to do with quality, standardized materials when it comes to building, for instance. You know how it is and you know how it works. Sometimes the foreigners bring in more value than the local investors. Maybe the FCT minister, because he has been accused, has weighed the two options when it comes to quality over quantity. So sometimes we have to look at these things, but there are refined local investors that we have. I don't want to mention a few, Dangote, Boa, and all of that, who bring in value when it comes to building and when it comes to giving that value investing in a particular in our country, Nigeria. But there are some who are upcoming who just wants the fastest way out when it comes to making money and conniving when it comes. Look at many of our contracts around in Nigeria. Some of them are unfinished, and these are given to local investors compared to the foreign investors who take prompt action in delivering service than the local investors. And if you and truly look at Julius Berger, for instance, give Julius Berger a contract and you see it is done within a speculated time in which it says it will deliver. But our local investors, what do they do? As much as we want to patronize them, do they deliver? Do they bring in worth at the same time? We have to weigh options before a particular judgment is given.
All right, so those are some of the very key questions we'll be asking our guests, who hopefully will be joining us very soon, to know what the challenges are. And at points where it looks like the government is not backing local investors, why are they not doing that? And what should be done to better the lot of local investors? But before you I wanted to use the word scamper, but before you step out of the studios, let's also look at in terms of actually, yes, the private foreign investors might have an edge in terms of equipment,
True.
technological know-how, and all that.
Of course.
But how best can we help our local investors to up their ante? Because China did it at a point. They shut the international community out, built on what they had, and better the skills of the skill set of their investors, local indigenous manufacturers, and all that. And if you remember, there was a time where every product that didn't look nice, we call it China, showing that it was not high quality. But
it
now
wasn't high quality.
So can't
They've
we
upped their game.
Yeah, can't we look at that as a way to better? Despite yes, we might not be up there, but consistently, just like Innocent Motors, consistently they'll get better.
Of course, and that is why the support system comes in, where most of our, when it comes to the federal government coming into, there should be like an entrepreneur program to encourage these local investors on ways to better their products and better their sense of ways of doing business when it comes to networking, going out for trainings. There should be a sponsorship. You know, that's to better our country, Nigeria, going out for training, learning training, going in for empowerment when it comes to looking at how these foreign investors, how they do it better. Just like you see the Chinese, you see them mostly in Nigeria, they know how to speak Hausa because they know that Hausa is one language that you go out with all over the world that you can understand and trade with. They come, learn Hausa, and they go back to impact their country. So local investors, if the federal government can actually invest in our local investors, they would go to Aba, our Igbo brothers. Look at what they do. They just need that training, that acquiring more skills. The federal government should actually have like a forum to invest on our foreign, because it's the betterment of Nigeria. Go out, learn the skill, learn ways in which they produce their products, learn ways, and then come back home and deliver.
All right, well said. Let's say our guest, Honorable Engineer Tony Uche Ezekwelu, who is an engineer, economist, and also public affairs analyst, but not forgetting the fact that he was also the former chief whip of Anambra State House of Assembly, is joining us via Zoom this morning. We want to say thank you very much for making our time to be with us this morning. Can you hear me? All right, I urge you to, I don't know if you have to do something for your audio. We can hear you, but can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Good morning.
All right. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm not alone. I have my co-host here, Jubai Manson, also here, as we're so glad to have you join us on Global Morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
It is my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Good morning and happy Easter. And I'm very much happy and glad to be part of your program this morning.
Thank you.
All right, we're looking at the ease of doing business, and we're looking at foreign investors versus local investors, the challenges they face, and the need for the federal government to give more backing to Nigerian investors as a way to better their lot and make them better and bigger. Let's get your take as regards how you perceive the competition between local and foreign investors, and which should take precedence in terms of government support.
Thank you so very much. Every country around the world does its best to protect its own citizens doing business. Anywhere around the world, every civilized society, every country gives precedence, support, every type of support to its local investor, because your strength lies in the local investors. Local businesses are what drives the economy of the country. They are what necessarily drive the IGR of the country. There are those ones that retain your foreign exchange within your own country. So, for instance, if you go to the United States of America, for instance, they subsidize farming to a very large extent. That is why their farmers can compete with farmers anywhere around the world. Go to China, China supports, finance, and subsidize so many things for energy and other things for the Chinese manufacturers and their local investors, so that in doing such, they can have ability and capacity to employ more, expand their businesses in foreign exchange, and then to help make the business bigger and make the country and the economy more self-reliant, more productive, and then make the economy stronger and bigger, and become a means not only for competition with other countries, but also as a means of throwing about power, influence, and control in the global economy. Therefore, in as much as foreign investors are very important too, because foreign investors, while coming in, equally bring in foreign exchange into the country, brings in their expertise, and then and the other things into the country. Any country that does not have reasonable investment, foreign direct investment in their country, has a problem and is not regarded very much. The ease of doing business by local and foreign investors in an economy determines to a very large extent how the country is regarded. That is why every country tries to make you believe that doing business in their own country is best and encourage you to come. Because when you come, you bring in your money, your expertise, and other things. However, in looking at the two sides, which should a government of a country like Nigeria give more precedence, more support to? Definitely, it is the local investors. Because the local investors are citizens. They are there to stay. Come rain, come shine. They are not running out anywhere. Whether the economy is good or bad, they are there. They employ the local artisans, the local workforce all around, both skilled and unskilled. They also help in developing the country in so many other ways, in social infrastructure and other things within the community they are working on. And they also help in training your people, giving them the best of the trainings, because they know that they are doing something that is patriotic within their country. But foreign investors, whenever the economy is bad or things are going on, they run. For instance, in the last 1-2 years in Nigeria, hundreds of multinational companies, foreign investors, have divested and gone out of Nigeria. I doubt if there still remains in Nigeria any foreign pharmaceutical manufacturing company in Nigeria today. Some investors in the oil sector, in different sectors, manufacturing sectors and others, even MTN and ShopRite and others are even threatening in one way or the other. Shell have pulled out some of from certain areas of its investment in Nigeria, and so many others. So any country that is civilized, sane, patriotic, and wants to build itself to become stronger, always give precedence, support, extra support to its local investors so that they will be able to compete with foreign investors and also compete with other foreigners that are not even investing in their country, both in terms of output and then products, instruction for market for their products and others.
All right,
Because
Engineer
if you
Tony, I
don't
want
encourage
to
your local
interject.
investors,
Engineer Tony, now
yeah,
you mentioned
yeah,
about foreign investors. Now there's this tussle that goes back and forth when it has to do with foreign investors and local investors, like the Lebanese, for instance, how they have more standing when it comes to real estate compared to our local investors. And in the back of their mind, there's some sort of, in quote, research that says they have the backing of the FCDA. Now, how true is that when you compare foreign investors like the Lebanese, who gain more support from the Nigerian government compared to local investors?
well, my dear sister, it is a very unfortunate development that most times the Nigerian government give more attention, more support, and more preference to foreign investors like the Japanese, the Indians, the Chinese, the Europeans in Nigeria. But the worst still is when you come into the issue of the Lebanese across the world. Everybody knows that the Lebanese are not only shrewd in their own business, but most times they operate their business in such a way that they will exploit the economy they are working in. They exploit you, and in the end, they still fleet back the capital gains back to their own country and other areas. That was why in some countries have chased away Lebanese businessmen from their country. Now in Nigeria here, Lebanese are even given, they have more stand in Nigeria than Nigerians in competition for business in different areas, be it in manufacturing, in contracts, in real estate and other. Let me come back to the issue of the one in the real estate. For instance, let me take an instance. I happen to be involved in real estate development in Nigeria and then in Abuja too, where my company is part of the small companies that's also involved in development of an estate owned by Praco International Limited. Praco is a 100% indigenous company, 100% indigenous company. And then Praco is also running in partnership with other big names in estate development that are wholly and fully indigenous, like the Sneko Group, Prince and Princess, and then some that one and so many others. So, but now the when there is a dispute arose between the Praco, which is a Nigerian-owned indigenous company, with Sunrise, that's a Lebanese company. You cannot imagine that Lebanese, not only first of all in area of real estate, there's a real estate that was demolished by the Wike administration, by the FCDA last week, Tuesday, in Abuja, last Wednesday in Abuja, in Asokoro Kubo area. That particular property was owned or is owned totally by Praco and its allies. Now, the allocation had been got well over 20 years ago. Then there were issues. Along the line, the matter was in court. The allocation was properly done, had the ministerial approvals, and every other approvals were given to the Nigerian developer. Now, along the line, they had some issues that brought in both the EFCC and others. They went to court. Finally, within the period they are in court, the Lebanese, the Sunrise, when they came newly into Nigeria, most times Lebanese use companies as fronts for either some big wigs or as front for money fleeting and money laundering. That's what they do in most. That's why in most countries they've been dealt with like that. But in this case, during the time of Eurofy, this company came along and they encroached into the property that was being allocated for development by Praco. And that particular matter was still in court. Then they now manipulated their system within the Federal Capital Territory Administration, and they went and cut off part of that plot that is in court, that's under contention between the real owners with EFCC and others. Then they illegally did this and cut off without even revoking the titles that Praco, the original owner, already has over the properties. Official, credible titles. Then the matter went to court. By the time the court resolved the matter years after in favor of Praco against the EFCC, they even went to appeal court. It was knocked out. Then the court now ordered the FCDA, the FCT authority, to reissue and release all the documents of the properties back to Praco. Now, as I said, that particular property, the Lebanese, the Sunrise people, have already criminally, using some government officials, carved part of the property and started developing it when the matter was in court. So they criminally appropriated the property of indigenous Nigeria to themselves. Now, when the matter was decided in court in favor of Praco and his allies, the FCDA, the minister, was ordered by the court to release all the documents back to Praco. But by the time they now came to the minister, what now happened is that the minister now said, okay, let us do out of court settlement. You are businessmen, let us do out of court settlement. Please, what you now do is, Praco, they have developed this area. Let's now divide it. Let them take the developed area, can now take the undeveloped area and develop. And they now went and got a consent judgment in that regards. Now, the Praco now went ahead. The final documentations was done, and approval to start developing was done, was approved by the FCT authority in December 27th, 2023. And then they were now ready to move into development. It was involved in 214 hectare land. So finally, what did happen finally in this area is this. By the time the national development, they've done clear the matty forest there, done the perimeter fencing, and started developing close to 100 units at the same time. Then, when they know what's happening, the Sunrise went to court to stop them from development. And they went to court and were able to defeat Sunrise again. In that court, they have 2 court judgments, 2 court orders. Then the FCDA under...
Can we say the judiciary is also part of the people that are also not helping local investors that seem to support the foreign investors, the judiciary, from what you're saying now?
I will tell you that the judiciary did the right things. They adjudicated squarely, fairly, and equitably. They said Praco is the original owner of the land. They should be the whole land should be released to them for development. The judiciary have done its own part. It is Nigerian politicians that are being used by these unscrupulous so-called foreign investors. They are not investing anything here. They are here to fleet, to carry what we have, and then move away to their own country. So what they did, they now went to the FCD administration, who knows what they dealt with them, and then the FCDA minister and the FCT minister suddenly, against court judgments, against court order, against every known reason, went in to demolish the properties that are worth tens of billions already invested by Nigerians. The company that have been developing those places has even over 2,000 workers under their control, all Nigerians, both permanent employees and then part-time employees. And then they wake in there early in the morning around 6:45 a.m. and demolished the whole place. Not just going to put a stop work, because in a safe society, if there is issue, what you do is put stop work, use security to cordon off the place, and invite everybody down to round table to talk. Now, but instead of doing that, the act of malice, vendetta, I don't know if I will use envy or what, but prodded by the sunrise, the Lebanese in the sunrise, they now moved against the court order, against judiciary, against the constitutional authority of Nigeria, against sovereignty of Nigeria, to now demolish the multi-billion investment of Nigerians in this very critical period when Nigerian economy is in a crisis situation. And when asked, why should that happen? Why should that happen? They said there's a dispute. There's a dispute between two companies claiming this. Now ask them, why did you not demolish the property of the Nigerian and leaving the property of the Lebanese without being demolished and leaving the residents of Nigeria?
All right, let's move on to other issues now. With this happening, obviously, we can tell where the pendulum is shifting. Let's look at the other challenges faced by local and foreign investors in terms of tax, rebate, and also other issues that make the ease of doing business, especially for local companies, in terms of technology transfer. How does this affect local investors?
All right. When the government failed to give enough encouragement and support to local investors, we have the kind of crisis situation we have in Nigeria today. Because here now, if the local investors are not supported, if the manufacturers are not supported, they cannot manufacture, they cannot produce. Unemployment will come, inflation will come, more importation, and then there will be fleeting of dollars, of foreign exchange. And that is why Nigeria today, the Naira is turning into a kind of Zimbabwean money, and that of Malawi in those days. We used to say, your money is like the money of Malawi people. But today, Malawian money is even stronger than ours. The Zimbabwean, Ghanaians, all of them are stronger than ours. The Nigerian government should understand that patriotism must be from top to bottom. That patriotism must be from those in authority and those that are being ruled. To get your economy right.
All right, I think we're having a little bit of network hitch there, and I'm sure.
We hope in a few minutes he'll be rejoining us so that we can conclude that conversation.
Support.
Okay.
The government must, to a very large extent, support and encourage local investors, technologists, manufacturers, farmers, and the local.
All right, he has said so much.
And the other instruments, with policies and the other instruments in place for the local investors, you will see that definitely they will be doing exceedingly well. And then you will see that our professionals, our investors, in fact, everything about Nigeria will improve in this country. And that is what we are not doing.
Engineer Tony Chukwelu, Ezekwelu, we hope you'll be able to rejoin us so that the reception would be better. We've got 3 more very valid questions in order for us to get a full, clear picture as regards the challenges local and foreign investors go through in in Nigeria as we look at the ease of doing business. We hope you're going to join us in a few minutes or so. But just to let you know, if you're just joining us on Global Morning, Africa's Finest Breakfast Show, we will also be having as our guest in the course of the program, we'll be having the drummers as we celebrate the World Drummers Day. And we've told you a lot about how important the drum is. We've got the talking drum. It's like Juma said, it's got a spirit in it. She was part of this.
I didn't say that. You said that.
You said that.
You said there's a particular spirit in it. I said there's a beat it gives. There's a beat it gives.
All right. We hoping that Engineer Honorable Tony Ezekwelu will be joining us. But meanwhile, while we're waiting for him to rejoin us, we will be giving some 15 minutes to the drummers to come display some of their skills and give us more insight as regards what this means in terms of today and what the talking drums do. If they truly have got some spirit that moves the either nodding of your hair or,
stomping your feet.
Okay.
Stick around. Global Morning returns shortly.
All right, welcome back. You're still watching Africa's Finest Breakfast Show, Global Morning on Global Television. And we still have Honorable Engineer Tony Ezekwelu rejoining us back. He's an engineer, economist, and obviously public affairs analyst. Honorable Tony, nice to have you rejoin us. Can you hear me? Engineer Tony, are you there? Can you hear me? All right, I would like you to, probably your mic is mute. Can you unmute your mic? Honorable Tony, are you there? Can you hear me? Let's wrap our conversation up. We've got just two telling questions for you to give us as regards the challenges faced by local and foreign investors, especially with the hindsight you've given us concerning what played out in the FCT and how it seemed like the government seemed to take sides with foreign investors rather than local investors who create employment and also ensure that there's no capital flight in the country.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think we're getting it all very difficult establishing contact with Honorable Tony Ezekulu, and hopefully maybe towards the end of the program we might be able to get him rejoin us fully. All right, tell you today.
I'm fully back. I'm back.
All right, okay. Thank you, Honorable Engineer Tony Ezekulu, for rejoining us. Let's wrap up our conversation with a quick one. Now this has happened, especially with the example you gave with what's playing out with the Nigerian investor and the Lebanese investor. What should be the solution and the way forward as we wrap up our conversation?
All right, the solution and way forward is that, first of all, the Nigerian government, especially the FCT administration under Barrister Nyesom Wike, should learn to obey the rule of law. Impunity should no longer be the order of doing things. And I'm sure that the administration of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu have promised to give in Nigeria a government that follows the rule of law, that provide very beautiful ease of doing business in Nigeria, both for local and foreign investors. Therefore, Mr. President, I will plead you should call the FCT minister to order that every action that you must take must be in line with the law, because the office is established by law, the same constitution. And he, as a person, has benefited so enormously from judiciary that he should stop spawning the judiciary. He should stop disparaging the judiciary. He should stop insulting the judiciary. And then he should, and even as a lawyer and as a life bencher, he should be part of people that will ensure that rule of law is obeyed, is maintained. Whenever there is a court order, if you are not happy with the court order or judgment, you appeal it, you go back to court and appeal it. You cannot take laws into your hand because you are trying to protect a foreign investor against a local investor. Most times, if you do this, you discourage our people from investing. And if even foreigners will start running away because they will say there is impunity, there's lack of rule of law and order. Secondly, the weaker administration of FCT should be made to do public apologies, both to the court, to PRACO, the developers, and then indemnify the company. They should put back everything they had destroyed in that place, because there's a court order served on him. And the government is continuing. Our government should learn whatever undertaking a private administration takes in, when you come in.
All right, I think we're having a little bit of hitch there when it comes to the network. Engineer Tony, are you here?
For that, there's also every need to have alternative dispute settlement situation. When there is a dispute, when there's a dispute, you put everybody together, bring everybody together to a round table and continue talking until you have a way forward. Finally, our government should know that the strength of the economy of Nigeria lies more in local investors. If you have local investors, manufacturers, farmers that are producing and exporting under good environment, they will export and foreign exchange will come. And when the people outside see that your local investors are doing very well. They want to come and invest and do their business and make their money in the country. But
All
if
right,
you
Engineer
suppress your
Tony.
local in favor of foreign investors, even foreign investors will run away from the country.
Okay. All right. Now, how can the federal government promote our local investors, help in promoting our local investors so that they can be patronized also against the foreign investors? What can the federal government do?
All right. First of all, government must put in place a law that makes every choice investment, area of investment, that to be for on right of first refusal by Nigerians. That's number one. Number two, most areas of the entrepreneurship and manufacturing and agriculture should be subsidized by government. Government should give some good tax incentives to local investors, farmers, manufacturers, and all those likes to ease out, to provide a conducive environment, make the ease of doing business by local people very good. Then government should provide adequate security, because security of life and property is what is the primary role of the government. And any country, any society that is totally free, that totally secured, investments and money go there. Anywhere you see that is secured, that the ease of doing business is very good for everybody, investors go there and economy booms. Then government should also make it a priority that this issue of local content law that's in place should be fully enforced. That's because if you look at Nigeria now, Lebanese are even owning shops in our different markets, trading in our markets, which you cannot do in their own place. There's a limit. Even artisans, they're bringing their artisans. Chinese do the same thing, and other people are bringing their artisans. Then putting out our own local skilled and unskilled labor out of job, increasing the rate of unemployment in our country. Thirdly, Nigeria is a crisis situation. The government should stop increasing import duties on important and essential goods, machinery, equipment, and the services, in order to encourage our people to get those things that we use in producing it locally here for export. Because if you watch since last year, the CBN have been increasing the tariffs on different things that are being imported, and we know we do not manufacture most of those things locally here. Thirdly, or fourthly, the government should, as a matter of urgency, link up major manufacturing areas and major zones with more seaports. The eastern flank, the eastern naval or maritime zone, that the
All right, Engineer Tony, we have to wrap it up at this point, I guess. Okay.
All right.
The port in Warri, Sapele, the one being done in Aba, Osakwa, Anambra State, Calabar port should be made to start functioning so that we have more access. Then rail lines should be used to connect all the major parts and cities of Nigeria. If Nigeria provides cheap and affordable power, energy, provide means of transportation, provide the other enabling environment, our manufacturers can beat Chinese, can beat Indians, can compete with any country in the world. These things I have mentioned is what India, China, Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia, and others did. And their country is doing exceedingly well. Nigeria should follow suit.
All right, thank you very much. I want to say thank you, Honorable Engineer Tony Uche Ezekwelu, economist, estate developer, and a former Chief Whip, Anambra State House of Assembly. I want to say thank you very much for joining us this morning on Global Morning, and we urge you to enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope that the presidency, who's also watching keenly on Global Morning, have taken one or two things as regards how best to support local investors as against foreign investors. Thank you very much, and our regards to the people of the Southeast.
Thank you so much, Engineer Tony, for being part of the
program. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
I so much appreciate you. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'm ready anytime, any day to be part of you, and I am called upon. So I wish you well. I wish our Nigerians well, and I wish all local investors well. God bless you.
All right, so that's how
Yes,
we
you
call it
too.
a wrap in that discourse. Excited to talk to a local investor there. Nigeria can do all things if we're supported. All right, we've like they say, you save the best for last, and we've decided to save the best for last. And we're talking the 2024 World Drummers Day, and we're bringing the man who is behind the mask, like they say, the big masquerade, Ola Awokon. I hope I got that name right, but he's here. He's looking glorious, like a drummer. This time he came in with an invisible drum. Have you ever seen that? That's what you're going to see this morning. I will go for a quick break. When we return from the break, Ola will be coming with all the spices that makes drummers truly amazing. Stay with us.